Good evening. This is Mahalakshmi Saravanan, founder of Women Entrepreneurs India. Today we are hosting the e-launch of Women Entrepreneurs India in Noida and Lucknow. We have with us very good speakers, and they are all into social entrepreneurship. And in that line, we have one Ms. Diksha Upadhyay. She is the founder of India Genius. She is going to walk us through her journey, and she's going to share a lot of insights. Over to you, Bhavya. Welcome, Diksha.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Deeksha ma'am. I'll just start with a small profile briefing of yours. Deeksha Upadhyay is a social entrepreneur who has been promoting socially responsible business and reviving the traditional art form by empowering women from the weaker sections of society and celebrating the unsung heroes. Her MBA degree in marketing gave her a strong background in positioning and promoting products, while her family background gave her an opportunity to travel and explore India's rich art, culture, and heritage. She has worked as a marketing head in many organizations and taught public relations and journalism. Her calling had been to give back to the society along with working close to art and artisans of India. She wanted to fuse art forms and bring tribal and indigenous art forms back to modern households. Her dream is to make every woman self reliant by honing their talents in their long forgotten art of macrame and crochet. This is also the reason behind Indigenous. Through Indigenous, she is not only providing a platform to promote the unique traditional art techniques and skills and also creating sustainable employment, but she also attempts to revive the indigenous art forms by plowing back profits through a need-based initiative in a totally transparent value chain method. India Genius products are aesthetically handcrafted utility and affordable items and are created blending various indigenous craft skills. While creating these pieces of art, the brand ensures to preserve and protect the integrity and authenticity of the tribal art, traditional craft, and culture. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome to the stream. We're really
Thank you so
glad to
much.
have you over.
Thank you so much, Bhavya. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. So, my first question is, what inspired you to start India Genius? Like, though we just gave a small briefing, we would like to know in detail about your business and your brand as such.
Right, right. I would like to extend my thank you once again to have me on board and hear my little journey, my humble journey. I've had the opportunity to travel India extensively. I have been to the interiors and worked with artisans at the ground grassroots level. I've had a basic understanding of what each art form would like to depict, and I have been in awe with our Indian heritage. Having said that, be it the bamboo craft, be it the tumba craft, the Gond, Godna, the Varli paintings, the Santhali paintings, they were always stand-alone state art of India. There was no art form which I could see which would reflect India in totality, but it was just one state that we were talking about. I was not very happy about it. I wanted art to reach households. I wanted art to reach middle income households. I wanted the children of India to talk about Varli Madhubani as they would normally have in their normal conversations. I wanted my bed cover, my table, my coasters, my lamps to be engraved with Indian art and a fusion art. I wanted to see Indian art and not just a state art of India. And that's how the dream, the desire to have a platform where I could bring these geniuses together and create magic, the magic of fusion of Indian art. I wanted I wanted it to be an affordable art form, and thus the dream, the desire of reviving and reliving our Indian traditions. Um, it has always been, ever since I've grown up, it has always been my dream to work with women, to teach them dignity of labor, to get them from, just doing basic household work, from going from one house to the other, and to hone their skills. So that's what India Genius is all about. India Genius is about promoting socially responsible business. It is about reviving the tradition called India. It is about empowering women by honing their skills in various arts. And it is about celebrating the unsung artisans of India. So that's what the little story about India Genius is. India Genius is about a 5-year-old startup. We are still learning through our mistakes. We're still incorporating different ideas and learning in our journey. Thank you.
That's actually very nice to hear, especially in this age. It's very important that businesses are ethically run, and you are also doing like a lot of CSR initiative. I think by bringing in all these unsung heroes under your roof. And my second question to you is, how did you come up with the idea of zero waste? I remember you mentioning that your products are zero waste. Everything in your brand itself is zero waste. And how has
Right.
it impacted your production cost?
Okay. So, Bhavya, this we have learned on our journey. When we kind of started out, I realized that when we are creating a product, the entire focus is on designing that one particular unique piece, right? So, obviously, there was wastage. And I realized that wastage is wealth. And how can I just let that extra piece of fabric, that extra piece of wood just go away, because it was just increasing the cost of the product. So this whole idea of integrating the waste to my main product, and in that process we started looking at our katran, our beads, our broken wooden pieces. We started creating byproducts out of them, which had their unique identity, which were beautiful in their own selves. I would give you a small example that we are creating a sari and a piece of fabric is left. We could do patchwork, we could do applique, we could create such beautiful earrings. We could, so there are so many things. And obviously, it's our social responsibility to cut down waste. It is, for our environment, of course, zero footprints and, less carbon footprints, etc. But uh, for every company to minimize wastage is very important, and this is what we learned in our journey, that every speck matters and we do not waste. So this is the USP of India Genius, that it's a zero waste company. We do not believe in throwing away even a small speck of fabric or a small speck of wooden piece.
I think that's a wonderful initiative, I would say. And ma'am, how else, other than the zero waste initiative, and how else do you ensure that your products stay unique? And how do you do the monitoring and evaluating of the quality of those products, ma'am?
Okay, so as far as keeping my products unique goes, I basically have home utility products, home decor products, or accessories for women. Now, when we are doing home utility products and we are using paintings, various art forms on be it Madhubani, be it Sandhali, we make sure that we keep the authentic art as it is. We could change the color combinations. We could kind of improvise on the color scheme which goes with our modern households, but we kind of want to stay with the basic essence, the basic ethos of our culture. As far as keeping our products unique again is our it's very Indian, right? So the colors have to be vibrant. We kind of lay a lot of stress on our designing. And we work with artists who have been doing this art form since ages, right? So they would definitely know what sells, what does not sell. And my work over here is to bridge that gap from the rural to the urban. So that's how my products are unique. They kind of are eye catching. because they're Indian, and we all are Indians at heart, and people love our products. Also, our products are very pocket friendly, because again we do not believe in wastage, and that of course has an effect on our pricing. They are very, very pocket friendly and reasonable products.
Well, that's a very good. I think that's a very good answer for my question, ma'am. So, next question is, how, in your opinion, has your business, according to you, improved the lives of artisans who work under you?
Okay, Bhavya. So again, as I said, that I work with a lot of artisans, and I work with a lot of underprivileged girls from our society. Right now, I would just not talk about economically how I have affected their lives. Economically, yes, because they start earning, they have their independent bank accounts, and financially there is a lot of freedom. It is very difficult to pull them out from their households to come to our office to work, because of the various responsibilities a woman has to undertake. Be it cooking, even if unmarried and they're young girls, they need to cook in their house, they need to wash, there are so many responsibilities. But once they come to India Genius, it is my responsibility to train them, to hone them, not only in skills. If they are a good artist, I mean, if they are a good painter, I mean, they are doing Madhubani art, it is important for me first to educate them into the art form they are already doing, train them in various other art forms. If I realize that they have an act of stitching, or so upgrading their skills is one thing. I pay a lot of stress on communication. Most of our girls have a lack of communication. They do not they are not being able to, they do not communicate well. So I do lay a lot of stress on their communication. Their holistic development for me is as important as upgrading their skills and making them financially independent. I would also add that um, uh, the women who work with me are more confident now. They would take decisions. They would take decisions of their children's education. They are more aware of the medical needs that they need to fulfill. So girls who work with me, artisans who work with me, are not just standalone employees. They don't work under me. We are a team, we are a family, we are a family of women who are learning from each other, and we grow together. And that's what the spirit of Team India Genius is. It is my dream to have 1,000 women, more than that if possible, and they all are shareholders with me. As I said, a need based initiative. I wish I could one day do this. I'll give you a small example. We have a day when the children come in to our workshop to see what the mothers do, how the mothers work. It not only inspires them to learn these art forms, it also gives them a feeling of respect for their mothers, that they come out, they earn, they work very hard here at their workplace, go back home, and yet fulfill their responsibilities. For a woman, a journey is much more difficult, is I would say. In India, it is definitely a more difficult journey to be working, be it my level or be it the lower section of our society.
Ma'am, I think what you're doing is very wonderful, especially with providing a sustainable livelihood for all these women who work under you and all these artisans who work under you.
Thank you.
So my next question is, I'm sure there is competition, and how do you manage to deal with competition? How do you stay profitable despite it? And what strategies do you use to market your sarees and your products?
So Bhavya, India Genius is a 5-year-old company. Yes, we have seen our basic struggles. We have been able to survive for a very long time. As far as profitability is concerned, I would still say we are learning that art. We have been rolling. As far as my strategies in marketing go, see, the best way to market any product is the person who's making the product should be sent down to the market to interact with the client, right? So a girl who's doing my macrame pot holders or a crochet bag, they get these opportunities to go down to exhibitions and have a direct interaction with the client. So that helps them to understand what sells and what doesn't sell. It is very easy to sit and say that maine ek crochet ka bag bana diya, I've created a crochet bag, but is it saleable? Does it have the kind of quality which a person would like to buy? And that is very important for my girls to understand. So a small team of 20, yes, but that bridge, that platform, I definitely give to my girls, where they're meeting their client in a marketplace to understand what sells. Secondly, this 2020, this time has really taught me a lot of things. The surge of digital platforms. So we have now, of course, gone on to various marketplaces like Amazon and Flipkart and Jaipur. We're taking help from various marketing agencies to kind of understand what sells. Social media platforms. We are still learning the tricks of the trade, as they would say. Having said that, we have sailed through this pandemic. It was a very, very difficult time for us. There was a time where we felt that we might just have to shut shop because how would we survive? But our patrons, the art lovers, have given us that strength to keep striding on. We still have kept up with our products, and our artisans are still getting salaries, which was, again, very big companies have shut down during this time. But we have sailed through. We have sailed through the worst, so I'm sure that profit is coming to us someday. Thank you.
Ma'am, you also mentioned that it's very hard for women, especially to make a livelihood for themselves, especially when it comes to business, where they have to handle their work and their household chores and all of that. So, what advice would you like to give to aspiring women entrepreneurs who would like to start their own business?
So it's all in the mind. I read a beautiful quote on your website, which just says, never give up on a dream, even if the progress is slow, which I just read on your page. And it talks a lot, right? A woman has to take care of the house, the children, and equally be devoted to her work. This stage of a homemaker to an entrepreneur is a very difficult step. To come to work and cut off yourself from house is not that easy. I would like to kind of give a small piece of advice to the upcoming entrepreneurs, is that dream big, follow your dream. Passion is what that counts. There are lots of failures. You will fall. But every time you fall, you push yourself harder and you still walk ahead. You tread ahead. That's the only thing I think I can say. And, I love a small little phrase. It is in Hindi, and I'll kind of translate it in English as well. It says, "Jab nari mein hai shakti sari, to bhala use koi kyun bole bechari." When women are treated as when God is Shakti, when Durga is treated as Shakti, why would you call a woman a lesser mortal? So I think the whole idea is to follow your passion, love your dream, and follow it. And success is always an outcome of your effort.
Ma'am, I think that was actually a very wonderful, especially when you spoke about following your dreams and dreaming big and following your passion that counts. I think that's a very wonderful advice to aspiring entrepreneurs, and I'm sure they'd be really inspired by your words. Thank you so much for being with us here today, and thank you so much for inspiring us here today. And over to you, Mahalakshmi ma'am.
Thank you, Pavya. Thank you, Diksha. That was an interesting conversation. And as you rightly said, women are passionate, but the challenge is women are not aware of their potential. They always need someone else to, let them know their capabilities, right? So, as my question, you have been supporting a lot of women. You could mute the mic so that the audio is clear. And
Yeah.
when you speak, you can unmute. Yeah. Thank you, Diksha. So you were talking about the underprivileged girls and women who, create all your products, and of course you have a kind of workshop wherein the children also come along with their mothers to know what their mothers are making. And I think in the pandemic, I'm sure a lot many children would have known the struggles that their mothers or their fathers are going through. And I think that is a wonderful initiative. And the question here is, when you say underprivileged women or those women, what exactly they are looking at? We know they have a lot of challenges in terms of communication, in terms of learning things. As you said, Madhubani art, you'll have to let them know how to make that kind of professional artwork. Only then your business is going to survive, right? So walk us through other challenges that these women face. There may be other challenges too, right? Other than the communication and other than creating wonderful products. Are there any other challenges?
Yes, it's a very important question that you asked. And um, this is what my whole business, this is how my whole business is about. It's about women, it's about understanding her needs. So when a woman steps out of the house, she is leaving her house to earn money. That is all that she knows. Her husband says, agar tum kaam karogi, so you will earn more. There will be two hands earning. So she has stepped out of the house without knowing what exactly she is good at, and she would say, madam, kaam de dijiye, give me some work, because I need to earn. So what they're looking at is only money. But when a woman like this comes to me, who is who does not know what she wants to do, she could just come for sweeping and mopping my floor, but this is not what I want to use her. I would ask her, would you know how to stitch? Would you know button laga logi? As simple as that. Would you have you ever used a machine? Have you ever used a needle? Have you knitted? And the moment they kind of give me one answer, where I can kind of hold the thread and then take it forward. This is what I want to understand from them. So say a girl says that, yes, I can draw, but what do I draw? And then I would try and train them in these various art forms. And obviously I would have to invest my time, which means a lot to me again, in developing that skill. uh, Explaining about Madhubani art, it's a simple art form from Bihar. So ye batana that this is an art form from a particular state, and why a particular motif is important in that art form. So be it a fish, a Madhubani art form would generally have a fish or a peacock, because that represents prosperity. Anybody who had a pond in their house was prosperous, was considered prosperous. And that is why a fish or a peacock is considered to be a lucky symbol. And to educate these girls about this motive, about understanding our art form, was important. Now somebody says that yes, she can sew, she can. So I have worked like a fabric jewelry, where it's only about stitching and creating magic out of it. So these women do not just have a communication problem, they have a problem with confidence. They would not know what they're worth, what their potential is. And after a year, you see, she would come up with a different personality. Her children would be listening to her. She would be in command of her household. She can tell her husband that, she is working today and she would be late. And it's amazing how these women handle their households. They would get up in the morning, cook, make sure nobody goes hungry, clean the house, and then come for work. We have taken these girls for exhibitions, women for exhibitions, where they have finished household works and stayed back with us till about 8 o'clock. Their safety and security is my responsibility. Having said that, to be alone on a stall and handle customers is not easy at all. So it's a very difficult journey which the lady crosses, and it happens not in months. It takes a minimum a year for them to reach that level and to reach that stage where they would learn how to use a bank. They would learn how to use the technology on the phone. They would learn how to use a simple thing like opening and shutting a laptop. Every girl in my organization, having said that, knows how to access a mail. So for me, that holistic development is very important, and I do invest a lot of time on every woman who comes and joins me at India Genius.
That's great, Diksha. Good to know that you're focusing on the holistic development, and a lot of your workers are able to speak up for themselves and are able to, kind of empower their peers as well.
Right.
My next question is, we have met a lot of women who are creative, but when it comes to marketing their products, they have a challenge. Do you think maybe the profitability factor you spoke about, you said it's kind of, we are trying to market in a big way, and we know there's a huge demand for these products, sustainable fashion products abroad as well. So do you think the year 2021 is going to be a fantastic year for all the creators out there, creative people out there, who will, I think by the time we head to 2021, many would be content creators. They would be posting their own content. We see many people doing their live streams and YouTube channels, even in tier 3, 4, 5 cities, areas, people are doing it. So do you think
Right.
creative people still need marketing support, or the creative people can themselves market their products? What I usually tell people is that, focus on your core business. If you are an artist, focus on the art products and
Yes.
outsource the marketing, the legal, the technology, and the rest to others. So what do you think, Diksha?
Mahalakshmi, you're absolutely correct. A creative person is never a good marketing person. I'm a perfect example of that. I love my work. I love to create. I would love to do something new. But when it comes to marketing, that is the most difficult thing, to sell your product, to tell about your product. You need a specialized branch. You need specialized people who can talk about you, who can guide you how to take your creative idea to the next level, um, because creating a product just doesn't end the journey there. It has to reach the right clientele. It has to tell its story, and a creative person will there are very lucky people, who can market their products while creating it. But my personal experience says that very few are multi-talented to kind of focus on both areas. So yes, one needs a specialized marketing team, at least a person, to take their products to the next level. Having said that, I think 2020 has taught a lot of entrepreneurs to take their products digital, be it the Amazon and the Flipkarts and various, to the extent that, most of us now have a website and an app and all of that. But then these are my personal feeling is that when best sales happen through word of mouth, and one needs to talk about the product, one needs to touch, feel, and see the product. So 2021 should be a good experience for all who have survived this tough phase, tough time. And marketing is not an easy journey. It is a different ball game altogether.
Thank you, Diksha. That was a wonderful interaction with you. Thank you for being with us. We look forward to many such sessions with you, and all the very best to your venture, and hope many women would be empowered soon with your support, and let it be a movement altogether. All the very best, Diksha. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.